Christopher. All right, so this has to begin right before we can
read this. Did you get a script? You open the meeting. It's right here. Okay, so you're the one. We don't. Kate sent out another format, so you can start the meeting.
Just like this?
Yeah, presiding chair, open the meeting for the board and ask for nominations for offices.
Okay, so.
And it doesn't have to be second. It's an interesting process, but.
Are we live?
Okay. That's right.
We're recording. Okay, thank you very much. This is our annual reorganization meeting, so we have to do a bit of board business just before our guests and the call to order for the traditional meeting. But nominations will come from the floor, from the board, and do not require a second. After a nomination is made, the board will be asked if there are any additional nominations. When it appears that no further nominations will be made, the board will again be asked if there are any further nominations. If there is no response, nominations for that particular office will close. Once the nominee has received a majority vote, that vote will prevail. So I open the floor for nominations for board chairperson.
We don't have to do call to order first? Yeah. And pledge, we've got to do the call.
I have to do, okay, I thought we had to do the nominations first.
No, we got to do the thing about that, and then you do
Okay, sorry. All right, back that one up. So we'll call the meeting to order, the original part of the order, at 7:04 and raise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry about that. So do roll call on everything?
Yeah.
And then she does the roll call.
Okay, we'll do the roll call, please.
We have Kate Lopez here. Megan Wicks is joining virtually. Kathy Grant is present. Arthur Colwell is here. Sarah Thompson is attending virtually. Christopher Wilson is here, and Valerie Luciano is not able to attend. Also with us is Adam Burrows, Superintendent, Amy Cepoletto, Principal, Lloyd Johnson, Director of Student Services. We have Sean McKenna, Superintendent of Griswold Public Schools, and Aaron Polonen for Principal of the School. We have other citizens, and Shad, Transportation Director, is also here as part of the agenda.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Well, this is like a traditional meeting. So we also state the Board of Education mission statement. The Voluntown Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. Okay. And we also take the citizens' comments at this point in time. If there are any.
I have one. Dear members of the board, I am writing in response to a parent complaint that was presented during the board meeting last month. I only recently received a copy of the parent's letter, which raised concerns over a response she received, specifically the phrase, "This is the way we've always done things." I want to make it clear that I was not the individual who made this comment, and I wholeheartedly agree that such a response is inappropriate when addressing a parent's concerns.
What are you doing?
Communication with our families should be respectful, transparent, and solutions-oriented. I'm committed to providing parents with accurate and timely information, and I'm always happy to explain the reasoning behind decisions or processes when asked. I believe that continuous growth and improvement are essential in all aspects of our work, and that the phrase, "This is the way we've always done things," reflects a narrow perspective that fails to recognize the importance of innovation and flexibility in meeting the evolving needs of our students and families. I also want to acknowledge that, from an outside perspective, The denial of the parent's request may have seemed abrupt or as if it had not been given thorough consideration. However, I would like to explain that transportation planning is a complex, long-term process that begins in the spring and continues regularly through the summer months. During that time, my team and I assess all possible routes, evaluate student needs, and make necessary adjustments. Student safety is one of our biggest concerns, and it factors into every decision we make, whether that involves choosing the safest route, ensuring proper supervision, or addressing specific student needs. Our transportation runs are not finalized or presented to drivers until mid-August, and even then, they are always subject to change based on ongoing assessments. Unfortunately, without a complete understanding of these planning stages, the parent may have felt her concern was dismissed too quickly. It is important to note that while we strive to accommodate requests when possible, changes to transportation logistics require careful planning and consideration of numerous factors, many of which are beyond our control. Unfortunately, throughout this process, I was excluded from direct communication, despite that the issue pertains directly to the transportation department that I oversee. As a result, misunderstandings have arisen as the parent has interacted with individuals who may not have a full understanding of the transportation planning process. Including me in communication regarding transportation concerns helps prevent confusion and misunderstandings like this one, as I am in the best position to provide accurate and thorough answers. If parents would like answers or clarification regarding transportation decisions, I am more than willing to provide them. However, I am limited in my ability to respond if I am not included in the communications. I am aware that transportation is on the agenda for later in the meeting, and I'm happy to provide further insight or explanation that any of you may need. Thank you for your time and your consideration in this matter. And if you have any additional thoughts or questions that arise after this meeting, I'm always available by email, and I'm very happy to explain the process. But I also have a copy of, I don't know how many I have, but I have a copy.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Machad. We'll definitely continue that discussion and factor in everything you said during our business item number 5.
Can I have that paper?
Oh, sorry, I didn't finish the passing, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Since I front run the nomination process, sorry for that.
Hey, didn't we receive another citizens' comments to our email either today or yesterday? That needs to be addressed.
I received one in my email.
Yes.
Yeah, I got one as well. I think it was
Yeah.
sent to everybody. Can we please read that aloud as it pertains to citizens' comments?
I'm happy to. It was something that was sent to all board members in advance. So it wasn't actually it wasn't addressed as citizens' comment citizens' comment. But if you feel that we need to read another letter right now, we can. I was planning to discuss it.
I think from how I read it was they were not able to attend the meeting, but wanted it to be considered as part of citizens' comments. That wasn't the intention, but that was the way that I had read it and interpreted it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think my only concern is that it does address personnel and in a public way. So I wanted to share it in a specific, just during the agenda item number 5 without having to read every bit that might actually just,
Were there names
reveal.
mentioned in it?
It was inferred.
There's no names.
Well,
I just found it.
you can tell who it is in a small town like this, so it's
Yeah, well,
personnel.
There's no names are mentioned. And if the citizen wanted it presented at the meeting, it should be presented at the meeting.
In terms of the email that we received, it was, I just said we would discuss it during, and you saw my response, Chris. I said, thank you. We'll just address it in the item, the transportation item.
And I appreciated that response.
Yeah, and this obviously those that attended, and it's in the meeting notes. We had citizens' comment come up that brought to the board's attention a transportation issue, and so we clarified that we would be certain to add it to our board agenda item for this meeting. So that's why we're planning to do so in old business.
We will be talking about this, as you mentioned, in another agenda item in this board meeting. It's under old business. And there will be a follow-up meeting on Monday, November 25th at 4:30 with the committee to review transportation routes and other issues. So we could, we've received the letter, but let's see what happens with we can acknowledge receipt of the letter with the transportation concerns about the route to Wheeler and the times. And then it's on the agenda at a future, this agenda in old business.
Okay. Item number 2, the nominations of the election of officers. I will repeat, I believe that's where I am at. Let me just find out where I am at. Just via Robert's Rules of Order, the nominations will come from the floor, from the board, and do not require a second. After a nomination is made, the board will be asked if there are any additional nominations. When it appears that no further nominations will be made, the board will again be asked if there are any further nominations. If there is no response, nominations for that particular office will close. Once nominees have received a majority vote, that vote will prevail. So I will open the floor for nominations for board chairperson.
I nominate Kate O'Carroll.
I second that too. I know we don't have to.
Are there any other nominations on the floor? Do we need to vote?
Yeah, we'll vote.
Close nominations.
Okay, we'll close nominations and you'll receive paper ballots to vote.
Officially.
Okay.
So Chris,
Yeah.
are you interested in being vice chair?
No, I think Megan's fantastic.
Oh, all right, I wasn't going to, I didn't know if you wanted to, that's fine.
Okay, so we have 6 votes for Kate O'Connor as chairperson, so the motion carries. Or do you want to do an official motion to close nominations and elect yourself?
Okay, I need a motion to close nominations to elect Kate Parlant as the Volunteer Board chairperson.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard, motion carries. Okay, thank you for your confidence and vote. I appreciate that.
There's a lot of hands going up.
I know, it's like a little tense there for a while, but
Everybody's chomping at the bit.
I know, it's like everybody's just running for this.
That's a lot of work.
It is. I value your confidence and appreciate the honor to
You're appreciated.
serve in this position. So thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay, so I will take the floor to open nominations for vice chair, position of vice chair.
Megan Wicks.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Okay,
I'll third it.
we didn't need a second, but thank you.
Or third
Do we need paper ballots for?
We do. Yeah, sorry.
Unanimous? It's the rules.
Well, just do it, because I'm supposed to.
Don't make me sweat over this and then give a free ride to everyone else.
You
Megan.
guys do paper ballots and all that?
I think I asked.
All right, we got to update our policy.
Any other calls for nominations? I think I should have said that, but none heard.
All right, we have 6 votes for Megan, so she.
Okay, can we have a motion to close nominations and elect Megan Wicks as the Board of Education Vice Chair?
Motion.
Chris, second.
Second.
Okay.
No.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? None heard. Motion carries. Congratulations, Megan Wicks is our new vice or continuing vice chair. Thank you for your,
Thank you. I'll be waiting for my
Great.
tiara.
exactly. Great work you do. I'll be missing next week meeting just so you can step in for me. No. Oh, tonight would have been the night. Okay, so
That's why we appreciate it.
I know. We can open the floor for nominations for the Board of Education Secretary. We have a nomination for Kathy Grant.
Secretary, treasurer.
Yes, Secretary Treasurer, really.
Yeah.
Um,
The treasurer.
Treasurer, yeah.
That comes on.
You get two titles.
mhm.
That comes on checks every week.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will close the nomination and move for paper ballots to make our vote.
Thank you.
Now we have 6 votes for Kathy.
Excellent.
Thank you all.
Yeah. I'll make, we need a motion to close nominations and elect Kathy Grant as the Board of Education Secretary and Treasurer.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? None heard. Motion carries. Electing Kathy Grant, congratulations. Thank you for all the work you do. Seriously, that's the unsung hero job right there. So we very much value all you do, and I'm always here for backup if you need to.
I know.
Just don't call me too much.
He is always there.
Yeah. Okay. Now we can finally, and now that we've closed motions, we can get back to real business and make the, do we need to start the meeting or we're already set?
Should we push the review the committee assignments back some so they can go?
Oh, we're going to do that
And
regardless.
the consent agenda and all.
Yeah. So we will work with the consent, the committee assignments for after the presentation. So that can go under administrative reports. And we would love now to introduce our distinguished guests, Sean McKenna and Erin Polonin, Griswold High School Superintendent and Principal of high school. So thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having us, and congratulations to all of the board officers. May the force be with you. Erin and I, come here tonight in gratitude to the families of Voluntown, to the students of Voluntown, to the faculty and staff, and to all of you. Just some stats about our great partnership. We have 26 regular ed students currently enrolled at Griswold High School, 10 students who are special needs, and we have 2 students at our Griswold, newly renovated Griswold School Street Academy. Our students are your students, and we care about them deeply. They are actively involved in all aspects of student life. We have 17 Voluntown students who participate in fall athletics, 7 in winter athletics, and 7 in spring. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because we know we have students involved in Model UN, we have students involved in music and drama. A third of our student body is involved in the spring musicals. So we're very pleased and honored about this relationship. So if we may, Dee Dee, bring up this presentation that we did send to Superintendent Burrows and Madam Chairperson, and we encourage you to take a look at it at your leisure, because there's going to be some slides that we're going to go through quickly, and then some others that we'll spend some time. We are a comprehensive high school in Eastern Connecticut. We have 8 sending towns, and we believe in the whole child. We believe in educating for academic purposes, for social and emotional needs, and we specialize in behavioral health, ensuring that every student is recognized as an individual, every family has access to our faculty and staff, and that we can design individualized programs for a variety of students. Forward. So Voluntown is one of our cherished sending partner towns. About 10 years ago, we had 4 sending partner towns. We now have 8. We have 126 students coming from different tuition partner towns through Eastern Connecticut, and we are very pleased and grateful for our relationships with all of our towns. It makes the experience at Griswold High School and Wolverine Nation special. Forward. I'm going to turn this over to Erin Clonin, our wonderful principal, who has designed what we call a Wolverine induction program to our high school, so students aren't just thrown into the mix, they are received and treated with special care. Erin?
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. I'm more than happy to talk about our students because they certainly are the best part of what we do. This is a real picture of Wolverine induction this summer, 2024. So you're looking at the freshman class right there. Our Wolverine induction is a day just for our freshmen. They come in, we schedule time with our student leadership so that they're really running the show. Kids want the opportunity to come, get acclimated to the building, and get to know some friendly faces. And so we look to really take the pressure off. We bring them into the gym. We seat them in their, what we call freshman section. That's where they go for full school assemblies, pep rallies, and that's where it all gets started. Then we break them up and we do some icebreakers, some games that are a lot of fun. I can say that they're a lot of fun because they're generated by our student leadership, not by us boring adults. And so they're the ones leading the way. And then we do very quick breakout sessions so that they can get just a little glimpse of the building, their classes. We spend a lot of time on the things that really matter to the kids, which as freshmen, lockers, getting their locker open. These are the things they worry about on day one. The cafeteria, where do I sit? What does that look like? So we really look to put ourselves in the shoes of middle schoolers transitioning into a high school. We celebrate the fact that we are a school that is made up of students from 8 different towns. And we look at that as a celebration and an opportunity for students to meet new people. So they really enjoy it, we really enjoy it, and the day ends with a barbecue, and so that's always a nice way to end the day, but start the new school year. So very successful.
Thank you, Erin. It was so nice to hear you read your mission to your school district. We have a mission too, which is on the next slide. This is adopted by our Board of Education. It's adopted by every single administrator, and I think I went ahead. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to coordinate. No, you're fine. So I'm going to back up. Is that okay? All right. So we are, the great thing about our school district is we do have a campus that is right off the 395 corridor. So it's right up 138. So parents that want to see their students perform in a musical or a musical ensemble, they can easily access our campus. It's available to students on the weekend. We just put in, thank you to the Griswold taxpayers, multi-purpose field complex. It is the jewel of Eastern Connecticut. We have a new 8-lane track, we have a new turf field, we have new seating and wonderful lighting, and we invite you to come to the track to walk it. The lights stay on at night so you can get some exercise, enjoy some fresh air, and enjoy our wonderful track. The other great thing about our campus is that we have really done wonderful things. I think, Dee Dee, if you hit the, yep, it should pop up. Forward.
Oh, you're more forward.
There you go. That's okay. Thank you. You're great. We have, the Board of Education has done a great job investing in infrastructure, and one of the investments that they have made is in technology. We have what we call the Nexus. It is a nationally recognized esports lab where we offer courses not only in animation, but computer science and esports. This is an attraction in the region, and we have a number of students and families that especially pick Griswold High School so that the students can take courses in this lab. So we go forward to the next. Then this is the thing about where I was talking about our mission. This is our Board of Education has adopted our mission. All of our faculty and staff, it's part of their evaluation plans, and the schools individually have adopted the mission. And we believe in the individual student. We believe that all students need to be connected, and we want to make sure that we're fostering a future-focused mindset. Our 3 goals are social and emotional learning, blended and personalized learning, and research-based instruction. And that is what we call Griswold Forward. Erin's going to talk about our vision, which is also our vision of the graduate, and how this is enacted, not just through academics, but through specialized programming senior year, where we do require community service, and where we do have students do a project called the Senior Showcase.
Yes, our vision of the graduate is truly a product of the community. A few years back now, when we were revamping and really creating our vision, we really found it important to get feedback from every stakeholder. And so the process was pretty comprehensive. We had about 18 staff members that volunteered to be on our committee, which is a pretty big committee. I was excited to see that level of interest. And we really looked at something so big and said, we need to get feedback from, colleges, from businesses. We need to get feedback from our staff, our parents, our students, central office. And so we spent a significant amount of time asking those individuals, what are the skills that you feel young adults need coming out of high school? As you can imagine, with 18 of us and getting that much feedback, it was quite a process, but it was worth it. We were able to take all of the feedback and kind of compartmentalize and create these quote unquote buckets. And now we call them our pillars in our vision of the graduate. So our expectation is that our students get multiple opportunities to grow in the areas of becoming an effective communicator, a resilient problem solver, a critical thinker, and an engaged citizen. Thank you. From there, our vision of the graduate committee, which was a solid 1.5 years worth of work, became our capstone committee. Our next level of work was, okay, now we have this vision. How do we ingrain it into our school? Make it part of our culture, not just a poster that's on the wall. And so we created what we call the Griswold High School Capstone Experience, which starts when you walk through the door. It has different components. As Mr. McKenna spoke to, our students are expected to complete at least 10 hours of community service each year for a total of 40 hours at the completion of high school. They are required to take 2 courses, one of which is personal finance, and the other really helps our seniors to prepare for their senior showcase. Along the way, they are also collecting artifacts in what we call their Vision of the Graduate Gallery. That's an opportunity of reflection when it's time for them to prepare for their senior showcases. And then in their senior year, we really celebrate and make a very big deal out of the presentation of their senior showcases. Every staff member is involved. We invite guests as well. So, Superintendent McKenna has served on panels, but we've also extended the invitations out to our partner towns. So we have had other principals and other teachers from other schools come. It's really awesome for them to see their students as seniors about to embark on their next chapter. We invite some teachers from the elementary school, from the middle school, and the seniors come in and they get to present in front of a panel of anywhere from 4 to 6 individuals. It's quite an organized process, and so the students in real time get feedback from the committee, and they know before they walk out the door if they've passed this requirement or if there's some constructive feedback for what we call a resubmit. I'm very proud to say that in the 2 full years that we've been doing this, we've been able to get 100% of our seniors to successfully complete their senior showcase. We've also gotten feedback from our seniors that while at first they were like, this makes me really nervous to do this high stakes presentation, all of them said, wow, this was a wonderful experience and I learned so much about myself, which is exactly what we want for all of our seniors. So that's the capstone experience at Griswold High School.
And when you see this on your own, you can review it in greater detail on slide number 9, which Aaron just reviewed. You go to slide 10, just by the numbers, we are a high school of approximately 610 students. We have a student to teacher ratio of 17 to 1, so the class sizes are fairly small. We have 24 dual enrollment courses where students can earn credits either from UConn, Three Rivers, or Southern Connecticut State University. We have a robust offering of AP courses. As I mentioned, a third of our students are involved in the spring musical, which is legendary in this area. We have award-winning music programs and drama programs, a nationally recognized state-of-the-art computer lab, and just so much more. Next. We are constantly looking at our curriculum. All of the principals and I are deeply involved in the teaching and learning that takes place each and every day. And as a matter of fact, Aaron just hosted what we call instructional rounds the other day at the school, where a team of teachers and administrators goes into classrooms, not to observe, not to get people into trouble, but to really look and find detail. What is going on with the learning? What is going on with the objectives? Is the curriculum being implemented? Are students engaged? Do they have opportunities to respond? How are students interacting with the teachers? What can we do to support our teachers and our students to make sure that they're getting the most out of the experience? So that is something that we're constantly doing. We have revised in the past couple of years all of our language arts curriculum, all of our science curriculum. We're in a math overhaul right now, working on that curriculum. We've introduced from the students new courses such as computer science, game development, esports management. We're excited at Griswold High School. I think it's one of the few schools in the state to offer a new drone technology course. We have exciting courses that kids are very passionate about, such as the history of rock and roll and so much more. The Board of Education has worked with us side by side to invest, as I mentioned previously, in infrastructure. And that goes from the macro, from a community multi-purpose field, to making sure that our classrooms are tech ready and they have what we call flexible seating so that it can promote collaboration, it can engage students, and it can make them feel very comfortable in the learning environment. And we wanted to make sure you had a sense of that in this presentation, which you're going to see in future slides. Career exploration. I know you just sat on a panel at the, correct me if I'm wrong, at the casino, Chamber of Commerce. We work with the Chamber of Commerce. We work with local employers to make sure that our students are prepared for the real world. We have done mock interviews. We have had resume critiques right on campus, as well as we have students go outside to different career fairs, manufacturing career fairs, health services career fairs. So we want you to know that we take this very seriously, because we know that sometimes students They may graduate from high school and they want to go right into the workforce, and we want to make sure that they're prepared for that.
Yeah, and part of that is our relatively new but highly successful YMPI program, Youth Manufacturing Pipeline Initiative. We work very closely with businesses like EB, Collins and Jewel, but also our partners at eWIB and Ready CT, to offer our students an opportunity to really get hands-on job experience and certifications, so that ultimately the goal is at the end of their experience, they are doing a live simulation interview. We've had students get hired right on the spot and start working at EB as soon as they graduate. This program is something that we've really been passionate about. We did all of the legwork to get it started, and then the year of implementation was the COVID year. But we still went for it, and I'm really glad that we did, because now Griswold has one of the highest success rates of our students passing. We're kind of looked at as a model, so we have other schools that come into Griswold and observe, and we've also been able to enhance our technology in those classrooms significantly for our students. Our YMPI teacher also finds opportunities for our students to do things outside of Griswold. There's a program that we are doing in partnership with, I believe it's Southern Connecticut State University. It's called Go Baby Go. And what that is they're going to be taking like a little Tykes, electronic car, and adapting it for young children with special needs. And so, what a gift for our students as well to see that, the service that they're putting in is going to benefit a youngster. And so it's really, enhancing the engagement of our students and showing that it's relevant to the real world.
So as I mentioned previously, Griswold High School is a comprehensive high school for students who are academically motivated, or for parents who are eyeing the exorbitant cost of college. We have a number of courses where students can earn dual credit. They can earn UConn courses, they can get AP credit, they can earn credits from UConn and from Southern State Connecticut University, as well as Three Rivers Community College. So we are a school that has a lot of dual credit opportunities, and we have found, we did extract some data for you, our students, when they are taking AP courses, if we go to the next slide, in many cases you will see they are performing very competitively. In some cases outperforming the average in the state of Connecticut and or in the nation. One of the great things about Griswold High School is it's a school where anyone can shine. We have students that go into career, and we're proud to support them, whether it's EB, whether it's Bacchus Hospital, whether it's at Pfizer, whether it's in the tourist industry. We have students that go into the armed services, and we are proud to support them. And we have students that go to community college and state colleges throughout Connecticut. We also have students, let's be clear, from 2019 up to last year's graduating class, we have students that we see at Yale. We have students that we have seated at Brown. We have students where we have seated at Princeton. A few years back, the valedictorian, the salutatorian, number 1 went to Brown, number 2 went to Yale. So it is a school that can accommodate a diversity of learners.
Student life, we encourage students from the moment that they walk in the door to try new things and get involved and maximize their high school experience. And so I'm very proud of the fact that at Griswold High School, we have students that are in the spring musical who are also stars on the football field. And that's just the norm at Griswold High School. They're at the age now where they're still learning so much about themselves, and those experiences inform kind of decisions that they make in their next chapter. And so why not give new things a try? We're very proud of our school spirit, our school community. You might hear or see on social media the reference to Wolverine Nation, and that's something that we are proud to shout out loud, and that just speaks to, you know, really being proud to be a Wolverine. So our students get involved. They are at the school all the time, and we love that, and they come out to support one another as well. And kind of leading the charge, those in the trenches are our staff, which I may be biased, but I feel that they go above and beyond to support our students well outside of the classroom. They care deeply about our students' connections, and relationships are something that we prioritize, and so that students want to come to school. So we're a very proud faculty as well. Model UN in Voluntown Elementary School. I don't know if you all know this, but there is a partnership there where our Model UN supervisors, Mr. Doug Craig and Mr. Cole Baccarelli, are in touch with, I believe it's Lynn. Yes. And so twice a year, one time we come here to Voluntown, and in the spring typically, the 8th graders come to Griswold High School, and the students that are involved in Model UN, they are in charge, as you can see from that picture from the spring of last year. That's Amelia Stearns, who graduated. She's leading the charge there. They create these simulations that are like something that you would see at a Model UN conference, and they split up the students and they really run that simulation. It gives your students an opportunity to get to know a little bit about Model UN, but also walk into Griswold High School and get a feel for what it's all about.
As I mentioned, when you get a chance to see this on your own, you can check out more about the Nexus Lab. Again, just a shout out to our Board of Education for believing in us and in investing in these facility upgrades that benefit students. We go to the next slide. We also renovated our library. We now call it a Learning Commons. I think if you were to go to this space, if you had a book or if you had your laptop or if you had a newspaper, it's almost like hanging out at Starbucks. It's very inviting. It's a very soothing atmosphere. You can learn. It's conducive to learning and collaboration and just thinking and enjoying the atmosphere. We also invested in a fitness center. We have new cardiovascular machines, treadmills, new weights, because we do believe, and so does the Board of Education, again, in that social and emotional learning piece, positive mind, positive body. So we want students to work out, we want them to be healthy, and this is a great facility for our teams, as well as for students that take physical education classes. You can get your time on a treadmill, you can work out, you can be the best that you can be at Griswold High School.
Our music and drama department we talked about a little bit, but it is quite a comprehensive program, and students have a lot of options to get involved. So we have multiple vocal and instrumental groups, and that's up to and including student-run groups that happen during our activity periods, which are on Mondays and Fridays every week. And so ultimately, we have 2 groups in each category. Students audition and students are selected. And again, it's all student led and run. And then in the winter and in the spring at our concerts, they perform just like every other group. In the winter, one of the things we look forward to is we do a full school concert and assembly. We have a faculty choir. The kids laugh at us, which we welcome, it's fine. We do a 12 days of Griswold, and the teachers generate kind of 12 funny, silly ideas, but it's something that the students look forward to every year. Our instrumental and vocal music teachers are extremely passionate. And they kind of light this fire under the students and this passion, they ignite this passion. I believe we will be coming to Voluntown. You'll get a little, or your students will get a little snippet of it, but also an opportunity to ask questions if they have them. Very proud of our departments. And with that too, I feel like we have comprehensive offerings in athletics as well. I know Mr. McKenna spoke to the data. I think those numbers will go up in the winter and spring because your freshmen, we don't know yet what they're going to be participating in the winter and spring. There it is.
There it is.
So our student services, Dr. Johnson here, we work very closely together. Fun fact about me, prior to being the principal of Griswold High School, I was the director of student services. And so we go way back. And now Mr. Christopher Champlin is our director of student services, who is phenomenal. We believe in servicing the individual child. So at Griswold High School, we have a comprehensive behavior skills program that is staffed by 2 certified special education teachers and 4 para-educators. We have a life skills program staffed by 1 special education teacher and multiple para-educators. That classroom is a space in our building that has multiple different spaces for students, for student learning. And so the life skills classroom is really a double classroom that has a kitchen, it has a laundry room, and then off of that large classroom, we have a lot of small spaces as well for students that may need at times some one-to-one, whether it be trial work or independent learning. We have the space that accommodates that. Across the hall from the life skills classroom is our OT and PT room. We've got a treadmill, we've got a swing. It's a fun setting for students, all students. We have a transition program in our high school that is across from our life skills classroom that services our students 18 to 22. And then we also have a special education teacher that case manages every grade level as well. So our special education department is 8 certified special education teachers. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I can speak to our Soul Street Academy, which is really the new high-tech building and space that is closer to our campus, is really great for our students. Our Soul Street Academy works very closely with our high school. The students come over every day for lunch. But it's also really important to emphasize that students have the opportunity to take classes at the high school if that's something that they desire. Again, we really look at the child as an individual. Most of the students at Soul Street Academy, they want to be there and they love that setting. That is what is right for them. However, there are some students that there are courses of interest at the high school. And so maybe they take 1 class at the high school, maybe they take 2. Then there are others that the goal is to get back to a typical high school setting. And so we work on a transition plan. We actually just had 1 student fully transition and he is doing beautifully at the high school. So we work very closely together. The staff there is absolutely wonderful, and it's really a great option for students that may need that smaller learning environment.
The next series of slides, I'll have Erin review them with you. You can read them in detail, but we like to end with the students. We are here for kids, and you can, these are your students, and Erin can walk you through this part, but you can certainly see that they are our treasure.
Yeah.
So you know Emma, I see. And Emma actually has really found her niche in the music and drama program. So I believe Voluntown, you came to our 8th grade showcase that we had in the fall. Again, we really like for our students to run that. And Emma impressed me so much at the Q&A panel discussion with the students. She was, her ability to kind of publicly articulate why she's at Griswold and why she is enjoying her high school experience was incredibly impressive. She's a great kiddo, so. Lukey, yes. You know Luke, and
I see what you're doing here.
his little brother is one of our newest freshmen as well. Steven Stenninger, yes. So again, really looking at students that are involved in multiple facets of the school. So he's one of our athletes and also involved in all of his academic courses as well.
He's got MVP.
Paige, yes, Paige graduated last year, and Paige was an athlete. Paige was in chamber choir. Paige was in the plays. You could see Paige everywhere, and just a delight of a human being as well.
We've taken great lengths to streamline our registration process, and a lot of it is online. So if parents if they participate through the online portal, we will set them up with mailings, we will set them up to get registered, and we really have worked, and that's a tribute to Erin, who, by the way, I don't know how she does it, she knows every student's name. If you're walking down the hall with Erin, she will say, "Hi, Chris," she will say, "Hi, Kathy," she knows every student's name. But we have made it a point to streamline our registration process and make it more accessible to families.
Never easy.
It is never easy. This was a lot of information in a short period of time, but if you do have follow-up questions, you can certainly reach out to Erin directly. You can reach out to me, our assistant superintendent, or our director of student services, Chris. And we always like to end these presentations. We did one the other night in Norwich with pictures speak 1,000 words. So the next set of slides are just our wonderful students and all the great things that they're doing, and what an honor to work with them each and every day.
Oh, who captures that? I love it.
So we'll answer any questions that you may have, but certainly if you have follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Were there any specific questions?
You have a lovely facility.
When was the gym upgraded in the workout room?
See, 2 summers ago, the workout room, I think we've done it, we want to do more with the gym.
Yeah.
I know that's something we,
I think it was because, of course I remember, Kincaid was turning to be a senior. He graduated last year, because he was the first one that ran up to me and said, "Thank you so much." And I'm like, so excited.
Sure.
And you remember those things. So I was like, King's going to be a senior. So that was about 2 summers ago, I think.
And you said 8 towns are sending, or is it, do you know which ones?
so
the top of your head?
I know we have, hold on, like I'm so tired. So Voluntown, Lisbon, Norwich, Canterbury, Preston, Sprague, Franklin, and then we include ourselves in the mix.
Yeah,
So there's
of course.
8, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. That's great.
We just did a presentation at Norwich Public Schools, which we're thrilled to offer them an alternative to some of the choices that they have, and that Board of Education is very pleased to be working with us. And one of the things we try to do, whether it's with Amy or Adam, is if we have professional development that your teachers want to join in on our professional development days, or even to come on over to, we have a partnership with Ravit Stein and Erin Dunn from EastCon, come on over. We have a new partnership. Fortunately, I'm presenting on this in a couple of months down in New Orleans with School AI. If the teachers want to learn about that, come on over. We don't discriminate. We want the teachers in. We've had teachers from Norwich, from Lisbon, and certainly Voluntown are more than welcome.
Thank you. You've always been so gracious with, this kind of community helping each other in terms of the educational process and obviously the transitional process. We only have our dearest 8th graders that go wherever they're going to go, but you've always been so good to teach, be open to the parents that are, just learning about the whole process from 6th grade all the way into 8th grade. And it's harder for our kids because they have such a big selection, and so they've always felt very, at least you learn about it, you make a good educated decision of where your kid is going to go. And even this is so wonderful just to hear more about it, but I really appreciate that. And obviously such community involvement in the service levels is really impressive. And the partnerships that there are that like job, direct to work type of opportunities. Obviously tech schools are options, but some kids want to have that more integrated experience in a normal, not normal, but
I think through our youth manufacturing pipeline, I apologize, we have kids have gone directly to EV, correct?
Yeah, that's, we see that trend happening and across the board. So it's great to see that Griswold's doing it as well, because it's important.
Yes.
So great. Thank you so much. I know, wonderful presentation.
Familiar faces up there.
Yeah.
Familiar faces.
And Sean and Aaron, I'd really like to thank you. Over the years, we've had opportunities to collaborate on curriculum, on the process and the transition of students. We've done some school security planning and in partnership so that we have backup plans. And whenever there's a need, and of course, right now, Sean's the central figure in school closings for the region. He took that over this year. So Sean, thank you so much. There's a network of about 25 people on that. But
Sean, just know I'd like to come to school.
There's some good 4:30 discussions.
And I don't know why the weather systems, why can't you do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? It's usually like 3 to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Become an expert. But I can't thank you enough for the collaboration. We appreciate the work in special ed and the curriculum work, a valuable resource with Griswold. And certainly when we're writing grants or other things, we collaborate, we talk, and we're members of the superintendent's group together, and Aaron networks with the principals. So it's a valuable resource, but we maintain our independence and our school site governance as a small school district. So thank you so much for the contributions that Griswold has made. We appreciate it.
Just under that hour. That's great. Oh, sorry. There's somebody on the phone. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, this is Sarah. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was unmuted. Just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. I have a couple of maybe 1 or 2 questions about just capacity. So could you speak to your ability to, given the fact that you have 8 sending schools, that seems like that was a potential increase. What is your ability to handle capacity of a school district like Voluntown sending students? Maybe Adam will keep me honest on what the actual percentage is. I'm sure he has it in his binder, and I'm not sitting next to him, so I can't cheat and look at it. But one of my questions is like, if Voluntown were to increase sending capacity or send more students to your school district, can you handle that also if other sending towns do the same?
So thank you for that question. It's funny, I just came from a school building committee meeting, and Marty Osga, who is sort of a legend in this area, he was on the school building committee for the high school 1997. It was originally built for 800 plus students, and right now we're at 610. I will say our attractiveness in the region, thank God, is going up. So every year we're at about we're 120, and I expect that number to go up as the course of the academic year goes to June. That's the trend. So we can take more students. We're always interested in more students, but it is a building built for about 800 students.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you have 600, around 600
We have
now?
610
610,
roughly, yeah.
So you got, so
It might even be a little bit more. That number was from the October 1st count. I think we've taken on a few more students.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
everybody.
happy Thanksgiving.
I won't be there already.
I know. We're looking at a November board meeting, okay. Here we are.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I will.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon,
Thank you,
okay?
Adam.
Thank you. We got to see that whole rigmarole. Sorry about that. So it go more smoothly. But thank you.
See you soon.
yeah, good having you.
Thank you again for the kind
Bottles
gifts.
and stuff, yeah.
Okay. Just for a purview on the agenda, I think with the focus on some of our top items, obviously that wonderful presentation from Griswold, we'll try to move through, and if necessary, we can table what we need. And I know Dr. Johnson has to leave after his presentation, so I think what we'll do, we'll just, did everybody have a chance to look at the consent agenda? Yes, so do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any noes? Abstentions? None heard? Motion passes to approve the consent agenda as presented. We'll move to the administrative reports. Do you mind if I just ask Lloyd to do his first? Just, I know, in the spirit of time, but it's okay. Dr. Johnson, let's hear.
Okay, thank you very much. Family issues to get back to. I didn't have a lot on the plate, so I was thinking today, and I've never discussed this with you all before, so I thought it might be good for you to become familiar with a little piece of what we're involved in. A small number of students have issues with hearing and interpreting what they hear and see and making sense of it all. And so they experience, with the cooperation of the parents, obviously, and the staff, a central processing evaluation. And sometimes the results of that are the student needs extra support in the area of being able to hear. You know, Adam knows a lot about that, and now I'm knowing a little bit about that. But you know, we've had a student up until last year who had hearing aids, and the teacher had a microphone, and so the student could know everything that was going on from the teacher. And we have in 2 different grades students with similar issues in their classrooms are equipped with speakers, so that the teacher has a microphone, their conversation goes through the speaker in the classroom. Now it's there because of the needs of a particular student, but the fringe benefit is all the students, it's easier for them to pay attention. And so now we have that in 2 grades. One of the grades has 4 different teachers, so we have 4 in that particular grade, and then another grade has 2 teachers. So I think something that I would ask Adam to consider bringing to the attention of the building committee is an investment in speakers in all classrooms eventually. I think there's growing research that because kids are so distractible, period, and the percentage of kids in our environment that have issues with attention deficit disorder would definitely benefit from being able to really hear what the teacher's saying and the conversations that are going on. So that's something we might want to think about in the future, whether we want to do it gradually or whether it's something that we just over time as different kids need it. So like I said, this year we have 6 in the building, and we will make sure that when those students move on, those are used effectively wherever it's felt to be necessary. But I just thought it's something we never discussed before, and it's just something that you can be aware of that we do for kids with hearing or processing issues.
Are these speakers are they portable, like a portable version, or they're in the room, you install them?
They're on a post. I mean, they're like
A tower, I see, okay, yeah.
a tower. It's like a tower.
So they are kind of
You can't
portable.
just carry, you can carry it, but you're not gonna carry it between 4.
No, but it's not like
Move
hard,
it from
yeah.
5th to 6th at the end of the
Right,
year, without.
We moved them up from one grade to the next, and the child went from a grade with 2 classrooms to a grade with 4 classrooms, so we purchased 2 more. And then we had another student identified with that need just a little while ago in 4th grade where there's 2 classrooms. And I think it's helpful, and the feedback I've received. And I think newer buildings, when they build a new building, that's something that's very frequently automatically put in, wired for. And anyway, I just thinking of something to share with you that we hadn't discussed in the past. I thought that was hopefully some good information. And the other items on there I've reported on before. I like what Amy has initiated with the staff in my department to enhance the training of our paraeducators. They're meeting regularly, they're talking about kids and experiencing new learnings to become more and more knowledgeable of the needs of the kids that they have and the accommodations that they need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'm glad you're looking into the helping students with hearing difficulties. I read once that people with hearing difficulties annoy other people more than any other disability because they constantly ask you to repeat things, they have trouble understanding, and they don't want to speak up. And I imagine for students, that's even magnified. It's good you're looking into solving that problem.
Students with autism have challenges in their social communications, and if you know that they're hearing what's being said to them well, or what the questions are being asked, and if the teachers use verbal or visual tricks to gain their attention, it just helps the kids to stay on top of things, because distractibility is a major challenge in a classroom today, keeping the students focused and engaged. So being able to hear what the teacher's saying, or if the teacher puts a program on the board, so that that volume can go throughout the room is very important. Thank you.
Lloyd, oh, sorry.
Go on.
Sure.
Lloyd, I think in past meetings, maybe this is both a Lloyd and Amy question, we've talked about some of the new workflows that I think were implemented last year to make sure that students who had IEPs and 504s, that the interventions that were outlined in those plans were being implemented and carried out consistently within the classrooms. And I'm just wondering, I think I've asked a couple of times to have an update and more of a quantifiable way of demonstrating that we're following or keeping track of these plans. Have you all been able to produce some sort of reporting or manner in which that understanding, with the intervention that was put in last year successful, and how are we tracking for this year?
So I discussed at, I don't know if it's the last board meeting or the board meeting before, just our implementation of, our continued implementation of those pieces. So we have some measures in place. We did our pre-meetings in September. We have monthly meetings with myself and our special ed team, Dr. Johnson and special ed team, and our paraprofessional team. They meet, our teachers also meet with our special ed teams bi-weekly or week, I forget which one, bi-weekly and weekly. There's a group of different meetings going on, and they track together, just ensuring that, they've gone through the paperwork, they keep track of what students need, things that are changing. So as IEPs come up, things that change, they have to be fixed, reinforced. So, we've gone through all those measures and we continue to go through. We've had some good success, a lot of discussion around those pieces. So, I'm confident that with all those meetings and all those discussions that we, are constantly looking at IEPs and 504 plans to ensure that, they're being met. And if something comes up, we come back to the table, we discuss it. They discuss it with Dr. Johnson. They put new plans in place to make sure that those needs are all set.
Thanks, Amy, for that. Is there any sort of way in which you're quantifying this besides the qualitative meetings and what's happening there?
Do you mean like keeping record of this?
Yeah, or just ways for us to ensure that, or like, I guess I'm asking the, how the auditing and monitoring process of making sure that we're following what is in IEP or 504. So like, aside from the meetings that is there some way that you're tracking like a compliance rate with the plan at student level?
So when, I meet with teachers, they will bring work or they'll show, this is something that I've recently modified, et cetera. They keep track between teacher and special ed teacher, and I'll review what they have, in that essence, but, I don't go in and go through a checklist, if that's what you're asking, like for each person.
Well, typically an IEP, it would be monitored by progress
Right.
monitoring, progress marks
Correct.
for the year.
Right,
IEP,
right.
If we're meeting our objectives and our measurable goals and objectives.
Yes,
every
yes.
time we
Through
do
the
it.
IEP,
Through the
correct.
IEP, that's
Yeah.
a little more quantitative,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's what we're
Right.
supposed to be guiding our
Correct, yes.
guiding our learning and instruction.
Yes.
All of our
504s are
strategies are around writing the correct accommodation, making sure it's communicated to all of the appropriate educators that work with that child. Then we rely on their professionalism to do what we expect them to do. I don't anticipating making out a quiz and handing it out to the teachers to see if they can, off the top of their head, remember or write down what accommodations Joey might have. But the number of conversations that take place on a regular basis, back and forth between the paras, the regular education teachers, and the special education teachers around how the students are being successful, really comes to be known when we sit down and have a periodic meeting on a student, and people comment on what accommodations are working with a child and what accommodations need to be revised or what accommodations might need to be added. So it's an ongoing process. But we do, like we do with curriculum and with how teachers work with kids behind closed doors, trust their professionalism to do what we're expecting them to do.
So as someone who has a child with an IEP, I was going to say, whenever you meet, you set goals. And when you meet again, you're going to say, we met goal number 3 which is they can do all their multiplication table 80% of the time or 90%. And if they're not meeting that goal, and you have a number of goals, you figure out another accommodation so they're meeting the goal. So it is tracked in every IEP. There is tracking in it, not a formula to hand out a paper or report, but it is tracked every time.
That tracks the student performance. I think the question is, are the students given the accommodations necessary for them to do the best
The
work?
question is, she wants a report.
And we ask those questions at the meeting.
Yeah.
How is the student doing? What do we need to do to allow them to do their best work? And as we listen carefully to what people comment on about whether they've been able to reach the student or get that done, then that helps us to fine tune our planning for any particular child.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm trying to get here is actually kind of maybe both two things. One is is there a roll up of like how students are tracking towards progress or goals, as Kathy had talked about, like with an IEP, and then I think something back to what Arika might have mentioned of, are we, at the implementation level with the teachers in the classrooms, what is the oversight? And aside, like, I think meetings are great, but I'm asking for, is there some sort of more objective measure that we're saying, yes, we know these, if there's 100 IEPs, they're, whatever the accommodations are, all of these are being implemented within the classroom, that we're not missing any for some reason, understanding that the process might need to change over, the intervention might need to change if it didn't work, we try something else. But I think what I'm just looking for or asking is, what other ways in which and how can we through data kind of quantify some of this work?
And I think that oversight comes between the teachers when they meet, special ed, regular ed, and then special ed utilizing students' IEPs for their goals, their accommodations, tracking that information and how that's implemented for kids. So that's, between those teachers to ensure that that's happening. And we come back to the table. If it's not working, we come back to the table. What else, can we do for kids? But really driven through the IEP and IEP process.
I'm just trying to think, just obviously we're dealing with our committees and where we kind of handle some of this sub work that we do. Where would be kind of curriculum steering, or what would it fall under, just in terms of how we would take this into the next, obviously do the work and then roll it back up for something that we like to, hear about, updates, but at a more higher level.
I mean, it could go under curriculum steering.
Yeah, sure. No, I was looking at this generally like
yeah.
I can't think of a better word than unique.
It's unique,
So
yeah.
you can measure progress in your math curriculum, and you can measure progress in any subject area, any performance, but accommodations are something you do for a child to help them be more successful. So it's not as quantifiable as, did you allow the student who got a 50 on a quiz do a makeup?
Right.
Are you allowing kids to make up work or to change something that they haven't done? The accommodations really are usually centered around what conditions need to be happening in the classroom so that the student can achieve to their potential. Frequently it has to do with helping them overcome the attention issues that we were talking about a few minutes ago. And frequently it's giving them extra time. And one of the things I've been communicating with staff and parents with recently is, when the children are younger, you provide the extra time. Then when they're a little older, you you say when it's needed. And then before they leave us, that same accommodation is when requested. And that transition from something done to and for the child to the point where they know what they need to be successful and they ask for the extra help, that grows over time. And we try to communicate to parents and staff that that's the kind of thing we're working on. But it's hard to measure.
Well, I think with the oversight, I think it's shouldered out many different people as part of the team.
Mhm.
It's between
looking
the
at it.
principal, the director of special ed, the teacher, and the parent. And the parent understanding their child's plan and what's involved in that plan, right? And what the accommodations are and what the modifications are, along with the school team and working together and making sure that they're all on the same page and keeping track of the goals and that the accommodations are indeed being.
And communicating frequently. Fortunately, with a high percentage of our parents that are tuned into texting or emailing, it's easy for somebody to say, my child came home and said this didn't happen for them. Let the teacher know that that's the perception the child has, and then the two of them can talk about, well, this is what happened. This is what will happen differently the next time, or whatever the situation might be. So communication, and it's hard to quantify the nature of that process.
Did that somewhat answer it, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it somewhat answers it, and maybe Amy and Lloyd, I'm happy to maybe talk with you offline a little bit more. But I think what I'm want to make sure, or I guess at the end of the day, is that we have, I'm just going to call it an auditing and monitoring function that is ensuring that each of these plans are being carried out, and some way of providing some of that oversight that just goes beyond and there was a meeting with the teachers. I understand that's sort of how it happens functionally. But maybe I'll just, for the sake of time tonight, I'll follow up with you each just offline on some additional thoughts.
Okay, sounds good.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Again, I'm still kind of noodling the idea of, if there's I hate to add new committees, make new committees, whatever it takes.
I don't think
but,
it's really necessary. I think she's just asking, how is this being done? And it's done through the work of special ed, regular ed teachers. So if she has other questions, she can just call and ask me, because I think for more clarity, but that's, we entrust in teachers and special ed teachers, special ed director that, these things are happening. And if they're not, parents absolutely reach out, and
You take next steps.
It was an informative conversation.
Those are things.
Yeah. I know, I think we have brought up some of these topics over the course of the year, and it's, I'm happy to talk about it during our session, but it's,
I think curriculum theory might be the best place, because that's where we go over special ed report,
Maybe
so
go to-
it was on that
you should
committee.
Go to the curriculum committee.
The curriculum.
Or become a member of that.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I'd like to ask the chair if we could modify the agenda to have the citizen read a letter now that she's here.
Do we want to drop down to, who's
Do we want to
left?
just
Or
move
not?
to transportation?
Yeah, let's just
Let
let,
them read it, if she'd like, at the
don't
time.
we- yeah, she can read it and we can do the work. on
I
it
just
later.
wanna, we're not, yeah,
I was thinking of trying to follow the.
I know, it was, it's just that's a point in time, but I do want to just, if we're done with Dr. Johnson, he does have a personal thing he needs to get home to, so I just wanted to thank him for his
We
time.
probably should get Adam's report, and then we can move it down to transportation after
Well,
Adam.
yeah, actually,
Oh. November.
Amy has to have her
You
report
have
as well.
something too?
Okay. You have my report. The only thing I want to note is that we celebrated our, on November 11th, our 10th annual Veterans Day breakfast. Actually, I think it was 11 years, but we've miscounted because it's been so long. So we had 33 attendees, veterans, and then in total guests, 50. So it was a great time for everybody to come together and celebrate. And one of the things that the board knows or doesn't know is that it's really hosted by you and the preparations for allowing our cook and staff to participate in it. So, thank you to the board for wanting to do that. People come in and they're very happy every year, especially older people who don't really have a place to go, but, they're recognized here after so many years. So it's been nice to have that. The rest you can read through on your own.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's so much to, I don't know, yeah, that's, you're, in the respect for time, I appreciate it, but there's been a lot of things going on in the school, and I do want to just thank you again for that Veterans Day, beautiful celebration. I know we are one of the few classes, or one of the few
Yeah, that's fantastic.
schools in the area that does that, and it's truly a representation of our, our respect and care for our community and those in it that serve, and just it's great for the kids all around to learn, and they actually, instead of sitting home or might not have someone in the military in their own home, they understand the value of it, so it's good.
I just as a by note, I heard the other day that in 1950, 70% of homes had a veteran connected to them, and now it's 20% of homes, so it's much less.
It is much less, yeah.
And around here, because we have the Navy and stuff, you do see more, but there are areas that are just devoid of any veterans or any active military now.
Only 2% of Americans join the military.
Yeah, But there's a lot less connection. Kids even tell about going in the military, and so it's nice we do that.
It is.
Well, I know that we have a lot of upcoming items in the school system. That if you even just look at her report in terms of all the different events that are going on, and just I know you're doing tremendous amounts of activity. We had school conferences, which was I know that personally was a great thing, but one of the things that for the little people they're going to it's a part of it is like just getting ready for this winter concert and just like what that means, like each and every classroom divides so much time to just sing their little hearts out for like, an hour a day and learn their songs. And it's just, it's an incredible amount of work, and you don't really think about how integrated that is throughout the school. So kudos to the staff for always making that a special celebration for everyone, and all the work you do to get forward, because our next board meeting, it'll probably be over. And there it is.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Principal Cipoletto?
You do a great job.
Okay. So do you want to quickly do your superintendent report? Thank you, Amy.
Just you've got my calendar, the enrollment. So far, we've returned 10,006 to the town. You have a list of the faculty and staff that we have. There's a building committee meeting minutes from Tuesday, October 22nd. And within that, we've completed projects, and right now we're reviewing some upcoming projects that need to be done, but there aren't federal grants, nor is there money, available in the school budget for that. So we don't have to do these things right now. They're all safe and secure, but eventually there's the front entrance security. There's the fire alarm replacement system, the whole system, replace the 32-year-old generator, the sliding door, some electrical panel upgrades, and some central office upgrades. But those are projects that we've communicated with the town with, and if there's any grants or other funds that become available, then we would do that. But we also have to talk to the town about what funds might be available. I sent a letter to Jody Grenier thanking him for the fire department's support for our evacuation drill, and also to the pastor of the Baptist church. And I just wanted to reference that the federal government was giving a lot of reimbursement for student breakfasts and lunches. That has gone away, and we will see a deficit in our budget for the food services program, but we'll be monitoring that. I'm all set, Kate.
Okay. I just have a question about the school lunch. Like Marine Magnet has free breakfast and lunch. How do they, is that because they're through Lauren? I heard all of Lauren has free breakfast.
It could be their percentage. We offer free breakfast. No, we don't offer free breakfast. We did last year.
They offer free lunch and breakfast to
Yeah.
everybody.
Our kids don't. That could be through like their school like lunch program might generate enough to offset that for, but we don't generate.
Yeah.
Any other questions under the superintendent report? Okay.
Oh, do we want to drop down?
So so moving to old business, if it's agreeable to the board, we make a motion just to move item number 5 to number 1.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. We'll move item number 5, transportation update, to number 1 of old business, and this is, we can invite Adam to start, and
There's a couple of things that are happening with that. I just noticed that Kristen came in too, and I'm kind of glad we delayed, this discussion to now. We also have Ann Michaud here, our Director of Transportation, and we're working on a number of things. The first thing that I wanted to do is there's a lot of things that are happening with transportation, and Amy and I talked, and some other people, and we're originally going to have a transportation meeting on one day, but it's now been moved to Monday, November 25th at 4:30 here. So if that's in your schedule, let me know. If you can't be there, then I'm going to have to change that.
I should be able to. I have to drive that afternoon, but I should be back by 4:30.
Yeah, she can.
Yeah, okay. And then I have a sample, agenda here. There's one for Sarah, one for, and this can be passed to the board members. And this will give you an idea of what the committee is reviewing, because we can review things as a whole board, but there's things that the committee should review and then bring back to the board as far as adjustments. And as you can see by the committee report, there's a review of the membership, and then we're reviewing the 24-25 routes, and also have an update about Wheeler High School travel times, transportation costs. We also are reviewing replacement of all vehicles, lease purchase, whole fleet, or 1 or 2 buses per year or other. Also securing Connecticut bus driver licenses. And we've been training a person, and the process for getting a CDL, and it's now up to 3 months?
Oh, at least it's.
Yeah, at least 3 months. It's really incredible. Update about the new handicapped accessible wheelchair, special ed transportation, sports, YSB, and other things, status of the two-way radio application that Jody Grenier has. We're developing the 25-26 transportation budget, and then there's some suggested dates and times. And within your packet, there is a list of the history of the cost of education. And as you can see, this year we have budgeted $643,875, which is much higher than the previous year because we used funds for purchasing the handicap van. But there's priorities that will occur for the transportation budget that the committee will review when they meet. Now, we received a letter from, Kristen just a few hours before the meeting. And, I think, Kate, now's the time to, bring that up. And I know somebody wanted it read earlier, but I wanted to include it as we were talking about transportation.
Kristen, I'll just, because you're here now, thank you for joining us. I know you had your parent teacher, so I hope those went well. You're welcome to read the whole thing, or I can paraphrase if whatever you would like us to do as a board, because we all received it.
I don't mind paraphrasing. There are some things in here that the board has, but I'm probably not going to read them publicly. I'm not looking to shame anybody, make anybody feel uncomfortable. So I will paraphrase, but the board should have received all this email as well. First, I apologize for not being here, but now being late. I'm still having, I spoke with you last month, I'm still having ongoing concerns and new recent developments since I visited you last month. First, my primary concern remains that the Wheeler bus does arrive 45 minutes before school actually begins, leaving students with an extended wait time each morning. Additionally, since last month's meeting, new routes have changed, which makes the commute even longer for students, and it's less efficient. The current route, which includes travel from Route 165 to 201, then it doubles back to Preston, and I'm not going to read all this, you guys can read it yourselves, but it completely goes out of the way, goes through Preston in a route that is wasting the tax dollars' money. This taxpayers' money, my apologies. Moreover, it's been observed that there have been employees not using their time wisely. And while students are left on campus early, 45 minutes, it's frustrating as a parent to observe this and know that I feel as though my concern has not been properly addressed. Attempts to address these issues have been very challenging for me. I will let you read the rest as a board yourself, but just my extra layer of frustration disrupts the flow and resolution efforts that I think we could all come together if we stop working in silos and start working together. I also have additional concerns that you can see in the next paragraph. Again, I'm paraphrasing in respect to some of my concerns that are in that paragraph. We have currently, as much as my husband's schedule has allowed, given some of my frustrations and then also the uncomfortableness that I cite in my letter, we are now, as much as possible, driving my daughter to school, which is a big inconvenience for us, as he has to start his workday later and work longer. But you can see why that is being done. Despite ongoing discussions, little progress has been made over the last few months. It's deeply frustrating when I receive emails that I have to reach out to first with, have there been any updates? And I get responses such as, without any progress in hiring much needed bus drivers, there really hasn't been any progress. This cannot be the only solution. I put some questions there that I'd love for the board to consider when talking either publicly or in executive session. I'd like to know what meaningful ways has the district advertised for bus driver positions? Has a possible MOU been considered to address this shortage area? I urge the board to take concrete steps to review what actions have been done and taken to consider creative solutions that go beyond we're working on it and just reassurances. I appreciate your time. This is a thankless job, and I said this last time I was here, and I completely mean it. You volunteer your time to do this, and I appreciate you listening to me. There are so many things that this school is doing right and this district is doing right. Please don't take my frustration as this is how I feel about the district. It's very much different how I feel. But this is continuing to be a frustration, and added layers keep going on. I'm excited to see that there is an update though on Wheeler AM transportation on the agenda for today. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your coming in time, or not coming in time, but coming in person, obviously.
Real heavily to get.
Yeah, no, thank you. I was planning to similarly say just that in terms of knowing that you had sent us all an update, because again, like you said, we heard you last month, and we have worked together, obviously relying heavily on the chain of command that works in this. And I understand it's hard, silos within the school community can get tough, but we do, I mean, I think just this as an aside and a thought, we value Wheeler as a high school, as in a school choice for our kids, and as we do with a lot of our schools, but everyone is very different, and this is obviously a unique. I'll be happy to hear. I think as a board, we should kind of hear a little bit what makes this year or even Wheeler particularly unique and a challenge, because it breaks my heart to see, to hear anybody's frustration within our school system, and it doesn't look good for our board to have to, hear this, but we want to do our best by every student and make sure it's equitable, and that's why it's on the board agenda, and it will stay here until we feel like we have, a good solution in place. So, yeah.
Adam, have we received any other parent complaints or citizen complaints about the Wheeler run or any other of the runs?
Just one other from Wheeler.
Okay.
I'll add Adam. Tim, my husband, did not submit his tonight, but there is a similar frustration and complaint about the Griswold bus as well. So similar to Wheeler, Griswold students arrive about 35 minutes.
Well, Maureen Mag gets you too, but they're all happy to be arriving early. I mean, it's always arrived early. NFA has always been like 5 or 7 or so for years. Griswold we got to get back for our other students is the problem, to get back out in the other runs.
I think we need to get out of the attitude of we've always done it this way and realize it's 2024 and do things to accommodate parents, children waiting at a school for 45 minutes.
Well,
That's
they're not
unacceptable.
waiting. They can go in and go
Are they
to
waiting for 45 minutes?
They sit in like
about 35.
That's waiting.
Well, I will tell
Yeah,
you that
so in light of having a few separate parent complaints, what I would like to see is maybe at our next meeting, if this is going to be a standing agenda item, I'd like to see a list of all of the high schools and what time, ballpark, the buses arrive in the morning at that high school, and then maybe what time they return to Voluntown, so we can get an idea of which schools we're having an issue with, what the disconnect is. It'll give us a little bit of a better picture of what that looks like, since none of us are obviously sitting on those buses in the morning.
And that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We're going to go through our transportation committees. So
Yeah,
what we'll do is
we have that
make the
coming up.
presentation there and then draft a report and have that come through. That is something that I've been looking at since September, since the issue was raised. I probably know them off the top of my head like Ann at this point, in reviewing the routes. We acknowledge that it is a long wait time for some of the schools. We acknowledge that it's a 3-minute wait time for some kids and they're running into homeroom. So this is a very hard balance to make, and in Voluntown's long. And so it's not, the short compressed district where you're in the city. So we've looked at map routes, we've looked at all those things. And I think through the transportation committee laying it out, it'll be, clear on what we can and hopefully gather some, additional information, or if people have other ideas and why they would work or wouldn't work. And I don't think it's that no one wants it to work. It's how does it work when you have, 120 high school kids, you're shipping out to 7 schools, vast ends, we go from Sand Hill all the way up down to 49 and getting all those kids in. And don't forget, we also have 2 other alternative school runs that are separate that operate via van. So that ties up a couple of drivers. So those are just things that just generally in the mix when you're calculating who goes where and how they get there and how they get picked up. But I think our transportation department meeting might provide a little bit more clarity on that.
And maybe you could find out before that when they actually can get in each school.
Yes, because each school is different when you can get in or when you can't.
Physically get in the
Who's
school. say,
supervising, who's not, like
Yeah.
there are differences between all of the schools and what they allow and what they don't allow.
When do you
Yeah.
allow them in at NFA?
Well, the intent and, Ann is here. We have times and she has done an excellent job with scheduling the
Yeah.
routes with the buses and the personnel that we have. But as I mentioned before, we are shorthanded a bus driver. We have one that's about to get their, license. But the other issue is if the board wants to have less wait time, then this is also an issue with personnel and the number of vehicles. So we have to review that. Now with Wheeler, we were able to have a van and then all of a sudden the enrollment increased. And then rather than have the separate van for them, we had to put them in the buses going around and have them do a changeover at Voluntown Elementary School. And yes, I know it's been in existence for a long time, but maybe now's the time to take a look and see what we can do. Our high school population has been remaining, if you look at the enrollment reports, at around 130 students. So we haven't declined, but the location of the students, and it's, just very interesting. Wheeler, has students located on all four corners of Voluntown, where in the past, if we had the van with fewer students, that was more centrally located. So they did not have the wait time, but that doesn't negate the fact of what Sarah brought up, that there has been wait time in other schools. So if we meet on the 25th, we can review the routes and we can see what's happening. And this fits into the budget process as well.
So when all this transportation came up, I did some research on my own. I called some people in the area and I contacted a company called Easy Routing. And I got information and they gave me ideas that actually would run into hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings, frankly. The first one, Easy Routing, of course, wants us to utilize theirs. I told them I have no say in this. They were really helpful, which is why I brought them up out of all the companies. Was most school systems in America now, and we don't, use a GPS monitoring system to monitor all routes, drivers, and everywhere they go, which streamlines pickup times, and driver waste, where it mentioned drivers sitting at Dunkin' Donuts, yet kids have 45-minute wait times. That sort of thing would be completely cut. They have been found to save fuel, equipment, and labor costs by streamlining the routes. Other things other companies do are look at the buses that are used on routes and have no problem buying half buses when needed, minivans instead of full-size vans. And all of these have been mentioned here, but never been seriously looked at. And it's a shame to the taxpayer because, again, it's 2024. And
we have many buses.
We have a $7 million budget.
That's how we bought buses, Chris.
Another thing that they all mentioned was bus drivers stopping to let traffic by. Every single one mentioned that saves on labor cost, fuel cost, and equipment cost. And any other stoppage of that nature affects run times and the above mentioned fuel, labor, and equipment cost.
Mr. Wilson, can you clarify that? Is it supporting the buses pulling over?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so for the buses to not pull over.
Allow buses to pull over to let traffic by.
Okay.
Because you use more fuel, labor, drivers sitting there, while traffic's going by.
Okay, I just wanted to.
The taxpayers.
Okay, I just wanted to see what the stance was specifically. Thank you.
I would suggest we bring in a consultant to look at this. And even if you look back at, I'm just going to throw out there the debacle we had with the IT system. Maybe we need consultants to look at all of our departments to bring this up to into modern entity. Maybe we need new leadership. We're really not giving the taxpayers a good ROI. I found this stuff out of how we could save hundreds of thousands of dollars in about 2 hours of phone calls. And you'd think the professionals charged with taking care of our funds would know much more about this than me and not asking me questions about how it works, frankly. And we need to do something. And we have.
Sounds like you want to be part of the transportation committee, because you've got a lot of ideas here, Chris.
Well, I found this out in an hour and a half, that transportation should have this, the director of transportation should have this, probably the superintendent. And we're like tilting windmills over a problem and getting absolutely nothing done and wasting taxpayers' money. And oh, well, it's government, and it's unacceptable, it needs to stop. No. And if it can stop at this one transportation and then move on, fantastic.
Chris, we save a lot of money by having our own buses.
I keep hearing that.
Went into that. You look at what other towns are paying for their buses, we're paying a lot less. Check Preston, check Norwich, check any of them, not somebody selling
North Stonington
something.
does it too, yeah.
North Stonington, check how much you're paying.
So that means we can waste hundreds of thousands of dollars because we have our own bus company?
No, we save hundreds of thousands.
And we refuse to look at modernizing our systems?
We can, but contracting is gonna cost money. We
I
can
didn't
look at
say
contract.
contracting, I
That's
said
all
modernizing our systems.
That's all they wanna do is contract.
No, I think she's talking about, he's talking about a consultant to review right, the department, not a contractor to contract the buses out, is what I was hearing.
Yeah, but.
If we can't figure this out and the answer is, well, this is what's worked for us in the past and we don't know any other way to do it, then we have to figure out a way to figure it out then.
A lot of it has to do with the number of buses and the number of drivers, Megan, and Chris, I think this is valuable, but it will be something that we have to address in the transportation committee, is what are we willing to do for the number of buses we have? Because right now, clearly, we need at least another minibus for this special kind of actually inequitable route. I mean, it's equitable in the sense that because the start time of the school, because that we have to consider that they start much later than the traditional, whatever, like the average school time, and maybe Griswold as well. But we have to look at everything very, organically in terms of what is happening to our population in high school and how, what their times are. And then there are statutes of how long they can be on a bus. So we're very cognizant of that. So I think there are.
I appreciate that, but what Chris is saying is we shouldn't automatically go to throwing money at the problem by buying another minibus or adding another driver, which I know we have another driver posted, and we can talk about that as that's obviously a contractual thing. But I think what Chris is saying
fresh
is,
thoughts for sure. Yeah, right, fresh thought.
Right, there might be if we have some tracking and we're finding that, a driver is sitting in a McDonald's parking lot for 45 minutes, right? That's something we can address. That doesn't involve buying a new bus, right? And that's obviously just hypothetically throwing that out there. So I appreciate Chris's thoughts on this.
Agreed. I think there's fresh ideas are always definitely welcome in terms of this. I think we have a charge, and it's definitely going to be addressed during that meeting. Speaking of that, Can I
ask one other question, Kate?
Sure. Are you available for that meeting?
It's Monday when?
The 25th?
25th. I will check. Sarah, you're also on that committee, correct?
Yes.
And is are parents that have brought forth these concerns also allowed to attend? Adam? Can
I think that's
Kristen?
in-house. I think it's an in-house meeting.
It's not an open meeting?
It's not, yeah, it's not.
Not for the town.
It's a committee meeting.
Yeah, most of it is not gonna be about Wheeler. And what.
Understood. I'm just asking if the parents that have made concerns, if they would like to attend, are they able to attend? We have allowed citizens to attend meetings before, so that was my question.
How many?
Should they email you, Adam, and ask for a request to attend if they would like to attend?
Adam?
Yeah.
No. Can they attend if they request to attend the transportation meeting? The parents that have complained. I think there's only two.
Well, I think the committee should meet first
First,
before
and then
we
they
have
can-
an open meeting with parents to
Yeah,
discuss
that's fine.
that. The other thing is that I think we have to look at services that are available. Now, we're a member of EastCon, and EastCon has a transportation department, and they do, I believe, use some GPS systems. But I would like to use the resources that we have. And earlier I mentioned, we communicate with Griswold High School and the other high schools frequently. I want to check to see what the Director of Transportation at EastCon has for consulting services. And we can ask that into the mix and also review other consulting services. And there were other routes that were just mentioned by people, so we'll take a look at wait times and see how we can reduce those. One of the things that we have is the tech schools have an off time, and that really throws a schedule off. And then there's other schools that have other times, and included in this might be taking a look at what times would be best for us and to make, suggestions to some high schools to consider a slight change. But the tech schools are statewide, so there's some challenges with that. Ann, do you have anything you wanted to?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I've mentioned in my letter, the transportation process, like looking at bus routes, I start in April. And I understand that Mrs. Trahan thinks that we didn't give any consideration to it, but I could pass it around for you. I printed out how many edits I made just in one spreadsheet. I didn't even print out the original spreadsheet. These are the edits that I made on my run sheets because that's just up until today, up until today's changes. And that specific sheet I started in July, and it was a duplicate of the original that I started in April. So it's not a case that nobody has considered it. We have considered all of the options. And I can't pick up 80 minutes worth of kids in a 45-minute window. And I don't have a sixth driver to pick up a run that takes 80 minutes. We're not allowed to transport kids that long. We changed the bus route so that the bus wasn't getting there as early. It was an extra 7 minutes to go through Preston so that the students weren't sitting as long. And apparently that's unsatisfactory as well. We've entertained the idea of having the bus sit at VES for longer, which a bus is not at all. If I were a parent concerned about my child's safety, a school bus is not where I would want my kid to sit, either breaking the law by idling in the cold or sitting with no heat on and in a parking lot. There's zero security on a bus. I would rather have my kid in the school. And it's not a case of just the tech schools having an off time. All of the bus runs, with the exception of Griswold, unfortunately, have the same travel time. All of them. They all leave here from VES at 6:30. It all takes approximately 30 minutes to get to those schools. And yes, there is time for the drivers in between coming back, but how do you propose that we delay a route that takes 30 minutes by another 45 without wasting taxpayer money by unnecessary driving? If there was a solution, and I'm open to, like I said in my letter, I'm open to ideas. I love ideas. The idea, the concept that this is how we've always done it as a solution is not okay, because just because something has been done a certain way in the past doesn't mean that that's the right way to do it. And unfortunately, I have been excluded from communication since I couldn't even tell, I could tell you. My last email was the middle of October 16th, I believe, and it wasn't even concerning, October 12th. And it wasn't even concerning the Wheeler drop-off. I have been left out of all communication. I have no clue who says what. I did express to both Mr. Burrows and Mrs. Suffoletto that I'm not interested in phone conversations. It is too easy to misconstrue or misquote, which has happened. I'm absolutely very happy to explain things in minute detail. This is why we do this. We have to leave the schools at a certain time because we have to get back at a certain time. And unfortunately this year, this school is 7 minutes farther than we allow. All of our buses are later. We have to get back here for 3:15. No, and I absolutely would love to explain all of that. I have emails showing where I have explained minute details. My answer has never been, that's the way we've always done it, because that is ignorant
Actually,
and
I
short-sighted.
consider this discussion closed.
That was regarding the bus leaving Wheeler.
Actually, so
Yes.
tell the truth, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
All right, I'm just gonna call it this. I know, and I appreciate your comments and giving us fair information, and not that it's unfair. I just don't want this to become something where it's more of an attack on what is being said or the minutia of emails that are just not for the record right now in this setting at the board meeting. But I do think that I really appreciate all the work that you've done, and I think as a board, we know that this has not been left like unnoticed how much work has been done. I think it alarms me a little bit that, people feel left out or they're not being included, and I think we should be inclusive within each other, but there are, of course, people that are, boundaries and lines of chains of command of how this is addressed. So I appreciate it, and I think that it pains me that it is so, it's impacting our kids, and the people that we just want the best, very best for how we address the issues that we have, and transporting them is one of the biggest things that is the most important every day that goes unlooked a lot of the times. And I don't mean to do that ever. We love our bus drivers. We love the time it takes, and we want to get this right. And I appreciate, Anne, that you said that we are open to solutions, because I think that's what we really need to do. We need to get together, get that transportation meeting going, look at all the information. Maybe a consultant is something. If there's an EastCon consultant, I think that sounds like it might be an avenue we need to pursue. But, and getting some tracking going, and that's great. But we still have to look at the information of what really is happening. So
I'd like to make a motion that we definitely get Adam contact a consultant for us for the transportation committee that can give us some guidance and newer ideas and stuff if he can. I wanted a motion that we get the consultant.
okay. We have a motion on the table.
Okay, and Mrs. Trahan, you have.
Wait, we need to finish the motion.
No.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? None heard?
No.
Motion passes to include include the pursuit of whatever type of,
Completely detached eyes would probably.
a
Look at
consultant from
something.
EastCon as a resource for our upcoming transportation meeting. In the respect for time that it is next week, so.
If not for that meeting, the next meeting, that we get somebody, because we have a big thing coming up between ordering buses, looking at what we got, and not just what time buses are arriving.
No, this is a subsection of a larger
That's
transportation
just
meeting.
a little tiny bit of it.
Very
People
important
are
part,
arriving
but-
late, but we're looking at a $600,000 output for buses and minivans and stuff to replace for Lend-Lease, $600,000. So
Yeah,
we
that's coming
certainly can use somebody to help guidance with that, or with some of it, and with things like GPS, and that's somebody that's up to date on that.
Do we have anything else on replacement of buses, or just want to table it? I think we table it for
No,
the meeting, and
I'll
then we
just
can come
send
back.
out the agenda for the meeting, and then we can follow through with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mrs. Strahan, for joining us in your busy night, and thank you, Mrs. Mashad, for the information that you provided to us. Thank you. Okay. Moving back to budget preparation timeline for 25-26.
You have the budget timeline. We're following through with that. We have one more meeting, and then on January 9th, I give you the initial budget proposal, and we start going through item by item and account by account, looking at how we develop that. And the board has to vote on that in March, to forward it to the town, and also schedule a town meeting.
The Voluntown Committee Leadership Conversation, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but that's coming up within the month, not self-explanatory maybe.
Who do we have going to that? I'm sorry, I don't know, because it's not open to the public, is it, Adam?
It's
Is it by invitation or how?
I think it's Tracy, Adam.
The last one was open to the public.
I think that was a community conference.
Yeah, but they decided to do this
Like a
instead.
leadership,
This
like
is
you're
a
like-
leadership conference
Yeah.
instead of a community.
Yeah, I think so. I know Tracy.
I talked to Tracy recently, and she said there are so many town projects and other things that they're working on that she would prefer not to meet, even with the leadership group, because they're developing their budget and they're going things.
Okay, so
And
that's
I
off the
indicated it, as I did the last meeting, our strategic plan goes to 2026. So if we follow that format, and I just said to Tracy, okay, if you don't feel that a meeting is necessary, then I would mention that. So even the leadership team meeting is canceled. But remember, I just went over the budget process, and there's developments that occur with that and communications to the town. And as the selectmen are reviewing what the different organizations are proposing, they carefully review budget and other types of things. So that process is a decision-making process with priorities.
Okay. So we are canceling them. Okay, so that's good to know. In more exciting news for safety on Route 138, Tracy gave her latest update.
People are home, if they
I
can
love
see it.
this.
The sign we're
know.
finally gonna get.
Yep, the sign. So we've got
This is
The
great.
speed limit article on in 25 miles an hour.
Yep, we've got a speed limit of 125 with your speed going 166 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But yes, so all the permits are in place with the Department of Transportation, Public Works for the concrete slab. This is directly from Tracy today. On Tuesday for the sign that is going by the Housing Authority. So that slab's in. They were going to try to prep and pour the other location site today, but it's in a very tight spot to the road, and a house really close, so that they had some trouble doing it safely without calling the police. So that was, there's encroachment permits that they already have the permits, but it's more like now we need the help to enforce that encroachment situation.
So the homeowner doesn't see it,
Doesn't want to sign in there.
I don't know. Yeah, so they she's gonna get briefed tomorrow on how far they got with it, but if they couldn't get anything done today for the safety reasons, she'll schedule the police officer to come in. And then she said she's going to be programming the signs tomorrow morning. If all goes well, they should be installed, weather and time permitting, in about 3 weeks.
Next meeting,
We might have
We'll
like a
see.
working sign. We might have to do like a field trip walk.
Yeah.
We'll start at 6:30, started the sign, and then walk to the meeting together, like
Yeah.
ringing of the bell type of
throw
thing.
rose
They
petals
can
on
ring
it.
the bells at the church.
Yeah, right. Oh, that'd be great. Led by Brian Callio,
Yeah.
our crossing guard. That's
Sign up
yeah.
for it.
Oh, thank you, Brian, for everything you do for the safety of our kids crossing. Any questions on that? I think it's pretty straightforward. And thank you, Tracy, for the updates.
No, I'm good. It's a great picture.
And all the town's workers that are doing the work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we have the BOE meeting schedule for 2025. There's a question mark. if we
With
want to.
meetings beginning at 6.
Discuss amongst ourselves.
I like 7.
You know how I
personally.
feel about these meetings and how much, yes, 6
You
o'clock
like
would
to
be,
be earlier?
yes. I turn into a pumpkin at 9, so it's past pumpkin time.
I like 7, but I'm not avidly against 6 o'clock, whatever, if that's what everybody wants.
Do the big decision now, or that's
Yeah.
2025?
I need to submit this to the town for the schedule.
Megan, Sarah's here, but Megan, you still on? Give you time. to
Yes,
mute.
I'm here. Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. I'm having trouble with my headset.
Okay, did you have any reservations of an earlier start time, just commuting and so forth?
Can you just repeat a little bit prior, because it went out about 30 seconds ago.
Oh, sorry, we were just discussing potentially doing an earlier start time for our board meetings. Instead of being 7, being either 6 or 6:30, just to.
Starting in January.
Starting January of 2025.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That's fine.
The selectmen start at 6.
Yeah, that's all right.
Do you mind an earlier start time? Okay. All right.
Do we need a motion to do
You need
this?
a motion to
No?
approve the whole schedule.
Okay.
Motion.
Second?
Actually, can I ask, I have a question on the schedule.
Schedule, yeah.
I'm sorry, fine with 6. I think this summer we had discussed whether or not we would hold meetings over the summer. And I think August is the typical one that's super challenging. So just seeing here that there's dates
So
for
July.
July. Yeah, July and August tend to be problematic. Do we feel we need July and August
I
dates?
think it's better to schedule them, and then we can say in June, no, we don't. But if you don't, you have to schedule them so far ahead. So if we cancel them and then we need something, it becomes more of an issue. We can kind of be on the plan. Yeah, you gotta post them, and so
I agree with Kathy. Yeah,
it might be better to say in June, we don't need a meeting in July. And
It's easier to cancel that. Okay.
yeah,
that's
it's
fine.
easier to
You know,
cancel
if
than.
you're there, something comes up.
Yeah, we got the meeting scheduled, yeah, it's easier to just cancel it than try to put a new one in.
I couldn't remember what way was the
Yeah.
issue, canceling or.
Yeah, it's easier to cancel it than reschedule it.
And I mean, we've looked into the dates to make sure that it's something like.
Yeah.
I know Valentine's Day was always a big one, like, my husband's gonna murder me if I go to that meeting. See, husband,
It's
sure.
just easier to cancel things.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to accept the meeting dates and the proposal of new time of 6 p.m. start time.
Motion.
Second,
Yeah, are we voting?
second, you in a second?
Oh, second, yeah, I thought I had.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard. Motion carries. All right. Nice. Makes me happy. We did 5. Moving on to policies, I think first readings, we're gonna just table for now as second readings, but this is policy, this is the FMLA piece that's on its 3rd reading. I think we've had some time to look at it.
Why do we have so many readings on that? Did we?
I think they wanted Megan to review it. Megan, you were the one that had questions on that. And there's extra information provided the last couple of packets regarding FMLA.
Yeah, I still have some information. Could we go? I know it's annoying, but can we go to 4th reading on that? I still have some questions out to the Department of Labor on some questions I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7, the policy 5114, suspension and expulsion. This was the 2nd reading. I think we were going to do some, Amy, just to see if we were
I had
comfortable with.
gone through it and I didn't find anything that was not in accordance with what we.
Mhm.
Did you see anything else? No? No.
It's pretty standard.
It seemed pretty clear cut. There's a lot of regulations involved with what you can do.
Correct,
That makes
so-
it-
That's the problem, yeah.
That makes it clear.
Yeah, you almost need a lawyer to look at it.
Yeah, that
I
makes
mean,
it clear what you
We've
can
talked
do.
about restorative already, we talked last time, like, we've talked about all this and
Yeah,
we know it's coming, so, I mean,
it's already, you know,
right.
Yeah.
we know it's, you know, it's very regulated. It's not something that you can just do and not do. So do we want a motion to accept?
Your motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? None heard?
Not
Motion
going.
passes to approve it as presented. It's written. Okay. If you didn't mind, I know you did some readings on this, but do you mind if we table the next 4 policies for second readings?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Really get into those pieces, unless there was, obviously there's, yeah, okay. So item number 5 is personnel, special education teacher retirement. We received a letter, didn't we? Yes, we did. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. It is. Don't mean to be rude. Is it in our book? Yes, it is. Sorry. It's Julia Stans. It's the retirement notice, yes. Yeah.
Too much policy to dig through.
Yeah. Mrs. Stans has been here for 12 years, and servicing our special education students, and in her career for 23 years. And she wrote a beautiful letter, of resignation and reflection of her retirement. And she really has given our children such a gift, and we can, it's the heavy heart that we're going to lose her and her abilities with our children. But I really do appreciate her so much, and really wish her a wonderful retirement. And I can't wait for all the send-off that we're going to do, because those are always wonderful reflections. And our staff does such a wonderful job with folks that are moving along, and it brings everyone together and in a really loving way to appreciate their career and what they've done to our students, or with our students. So, but thank you, Julia. So, do we have a motion to accept with regret the retirement of Julia Stans as a special education teacher?
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Regretfully, aye. We do obviously express our sincere thanks for your service, Julia, so thank you. Okay. Oh, motion. We did that motion, okay, yeah, sorry. Aye, motion carries, sadly. Okay.
Personnel, did you see this sentence right there?
Yes. So, just read it? Is that all we do? Yes, okay. Yeah. A teacher submitted a letter notifying the board about an FMLA request, followed by an unpaid leave of absence. So that is, do we have?
And, well, we're just honoring that, following the procedures of FMLA.
For FMLA.
And that's the maternity.
Are we giving leaves also besides FMLA? We never did.
It's in their, are you, in adjacent
Whatever
to this,
is in their contract.
it's in their
we
contract.
give Whatever is in their
Correct,
contract.
that follows their contract.
As long as it follows the contract. Because in the past, we've had people ask for like 2-year leaves and things like that.
Yeah, it's like a sabbatical.
Yeah,
now.
it's not a
It's not a
sabbatical.
sabbatical.
It's great.
Now when you're having a baby, it's not a
Yeah,
sabbatical.
it's elementary school.
Yeah.
Did we take a motion for the last one?
For the last, I believe we did. You probably need a motion to accept that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the motion.
Do we have a motion on the floor to accept the request for FMLA leave?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
And we'll reference, Kayla Barber.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Well, she's present, so.
Well, okay.
Present and
Yeah,
pregnant.
I was like, who else would do this? Well, for Kayla Barber.
Okay.
It is
Katie,
accepted.
You got that, okay,
She's trying
thank
to hold
you.
her heartburn in right now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, poor
I
thing.
nonverbal body language over here, so.
I don't assume anybody is anything at any time. Let's put that straight. Okay, do we say aye?
Aye.
Okay. I really, at this point, okay. So we are back to, that's all we needed for personnel. Agreement for child nutrition program authorized signer.
Who we're gonna make.
Who are we
Adam the
making?
authorized signer?
Who's this signing?
Amy Cefaletto, please.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved to authorize Amy Cefaletto to be the authorized signer of the agreement for the child nutrition program. 7 is Title 9, or Title, what is this? 4, Part A grant, Title 2 and 1 and 2 grants. Wow. Authorize the superintendent to sign and submit the Title 4 Part A grant and the Title 1 and 2 grants.
Motion.
What are those grants?
What are those grants for?
What are the grants?
Is this, am I here?
What are those grants for?
Title, what are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amy, the Title 1 and 2 forms, oh, thank you, there it is.
Sorry to make you,
It's free money.
yeah, free money. I love that we want to get it. I just was curious.
There's a bunch of them.
How did we rip through it?
I usually write these down, I've got my grants in here.
We're tabling policy.
Policies. They'll all be there
Were you
next
listening?
Okay.
1 through 4 policies tabled. Second reading.
Title
Still,
4,
they didn't
just said
take
that?
an hour.
Yeah,
Did
we
pretty
did,
good.
that's why we're getting out quick.
Title 4 is academic enrichment.
How about Title 1? I forget what that is.
Yeah, what do we have?
I thought Title 1 was,
Couple $1,000.
yeah,
It
like
wasn't
Eagle
much.
Study, like things
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, Eagles, oh, I see.
That.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then-
Enrichment?
Supports that.
And then the Title 1 and Title 2 grants. Title 1 pays for our, part of our salary for our SRBI, but Title 1 is about $39,000, and we pay part of a teacher's salary with that, and it's the remediation program for, math and reading. And then the Title 2 is combined with that, but Title 2 is teacher and personal training, $4,087. So these are grants that flow through from the federal government, the Department of Education, and it's put into our grants management system. But we have to document that the Board of Ed approves submitting the grants.
Okay, thank you for the background, but we appreciate the extra money, so. Motion, we did, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unheard, motion carries. Okay,
That's it.
that's it for new business.
We need executive session?
The next meeting is Thursday, December 12th, still at 7, unfortunately, but mark calendars. And we do need an executive session just to review negotiations briefly.
So in the summer, we could, when it's light, during our main meeting, we could actually, in June, we could actually be driving home.
And it's still light.
June especially,
Yeah.
midnight, yeah, longest month of the year.
June.
Okay, so,
Are you only discussing negotiations, or are you discussing anything else that I need to be approved?
I believe it's just negotiations at this point.
You're free.
You're free. Thank you very much.
Do you want to make a motion to? Motion.
We need a motion to invite Mr. Burrows into our executive sessions.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and that will be at 9:25.